Jane Floyd, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
So great to have you here. Why don't we do this? What if you have this opportunity? We've got loan officers listening, right, at various levels around the country, right? Some wildly successful like yourself. Some maybe it's the first 3 years-ish in the biz. Then there's the middle, pack. Before we get into this road to 100 million, what would you want to share with listeners about Jane Floyd?
So you probably know I've been in the business for 33 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, honestly, Jeff, I'm so passionate. I love what I do so much from the first day that I got into the mortgage business. And I think there's people that get into it maybe for the wrong reasons. And so you talk about the road to success to 100 million. I think to get there with collaboration, right, and bringing others up and impacting, and not just thinking about the money. I think you have to be passionate about what you do. So I truly am. Not to say that it's not without challenges. And I think really, I've learned anything we'll probably talk about today. I've learned so much from the mistakes I've made, right, in my career, and then just from people, right, just people pouring into me. So I would just say I want people to know there's nothing I won't share with anyone. To be honest with you,
I can definitely sense that from you as well. Passionate, right? You're kind of on fire. I sense, right? So. Have you ever felt, was there ever a period over the past 30 years of your career where the fire, the passion kind of dimmed a little bit or maybe even went out?
Never gone out, dimmed. Absolutely. Right. And that's when you just have to take a step back. Right. And really analyze like your why, right? Why am I doing this? Quite honestly, I had one of those moments in the past year, probably, and they don't last very long, but to be honest with you, and that's when I did make some changes, right, and figured out why am I doing what I'm doing, and really at the end of the day, if my why is not being answered, then that's when that light dims, and when you wake up and you're not excited, because I truly wake up every day. My kids, grown kids that work with me, they're like, nobody wakes up that excited, but I truly do. I truly do, because I absolutely love what I do. So, things go wrong and you just have to figure out like, what is it you can control? The controllables. It's all in my head, right? If I'm in a not motivated, which is rare, I got to figure out, why am I not motivated? And what's that obstacle that I need to get out of my life? Right.
So the theme of this is the road to 100 million. And we're going to unpack some tactics, of course, in this conversation. But I oftentimes when I talk to people that are achieving at a high level, and I recently talked to some various coaches at different organizations, and one of the questions I posed was, what comes first, skill set or mindset? And I'd be curious to get your take on, let's use the theme of the road to 100 million, or whatever that is. It could be somebody's road to 50 million or 30 million. But
yes.
Do you think somebody can get to the top, right, air quotes, of whatever their top is? And then, of course, there's another top. But like, how critical is that mindset? Let me pose the same question to you. Mindset versus skill set. Like, which comes first? Which is more important?
Personally, I absolutely think that it's mindset, because Jeff, let's define like 100 million. You can be at 100 million, but be a train wreck in the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
So, and I've seen it, and I've worked with people that have the skill set. They are really brilliant, right? And so they can get to 100 million, but the mindset, it's not aligned with, when you say mindset, like that's a belief that I have abundance in my life and I enjoy, right? So I think it all starts with mindset. Now, skills, you can have a positive mindset, but then you have to tactically have the skills, like
Sure.
to get to 100 million, right? Like, so for example, I'm not extremely techie. I'm not techie at all. I mean, I'm techie to the point where I need to be,
Yeah.
but I surround myself with people who are, right? And, but yet, if you called me and said, "Hey, Jane, this is what's going on in my life, and I'm purchasing this house," and da da da, like, wow, that's like, I love to put that together. So I know where my gifts are, and not to say that, I can, obviously I'm not illiterate, right? I can work in Encompass and
Hmm.
all of that, but I think skill set can be taught,
Yeah.
but mindset is just something that it's within.
Yeah.
So,
You either have it or you don't.
or you don't. Yeah.
I mean, you can get it. You can condition yourself, right, to get there and do the coaching, read the books, et cetera, go to the events, get around the right people, mentors. That can help foster that. But you have to have that open mindedness,
And
I think.
it's not easy either, Jeff,
Yeah.
sometimes, right? I mean, in
Hmm.
our business, you know that. I mean, it's reactive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There are people, right, that will leave us for a penny, right? I
Yes.
mean, that
Yes.
you've poured your heart and soul into, and you've counseled them, and you've done everything right, but they're going to find it for, I mean, that's hard to say, okay, I'm going to have a positive mindset when I just spent, a week with Jeff, and he was going to go with me, and now he's going with ABC Company for $50, right? Um, so so
Mm.
so I think switch, like, and way back in the day, man, I would get deflated by things like that, right? Or
Mm.
I would get deflated if, like, a realtor was using somebody else for, I don't do that anymore, right? I'm like, okay, what did I learn from this? Could I have done anything any different? And if not, for example, this morning, one of my guys, somebody said they were locking with him, sent out disclosures, and somebody on my team, and then you know what? Found it for a little bit less, and you know what? Boom, it's gone. It's okay. There's nothing. You did everything that you could do.
Hmm.
So let's just move on to the next one. And this person's going to see the value that they're not going to leave you for $50. So I
Yeah.
think it's just how quick we can pivot when our mind goes to
Mm.
that dark place.
I like that. I heard it once said it's not that you get knocked down. It's just how long do you stay down?
How long do
You
you
know?
stay down?
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
minute is all it should be. When I say a minute, okay, an hour. If
Well,
it's,
have your pity party, do your thing, walk around the park, or whatever it is, right? But yeah,
yeah,
you gotta dust yourself off and move on.
yeah,
And sometimes that comes with maturity. That comes with tenure in the business. One where I'm just to hear all the LOs in my head, right? One where that's easy when you're closing 200 loans, right? But it's a mindset, it's a skill set I think that you develop over time. And just realize resiliency is a critical part of this business.
resilience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. All right, so that's some mindset stuff. Um, you made an excellent point as well. I wrote this note down of like you can have this amazing, wonderful, positive mindset, but not have the skill set to back it up. And I wrote down ignorance on fire. You still have to perform, right? You still have to know your guidelines. You still have to do what you say. Like your word is your only bond when it comes
That's it.
to right your clients and your referral partners. If you say you're going to do something, you better make sure you can do it before you say that, right? Have you ever got burned by that, by the way? I'm curious. Have you ever had to eat crow and be like, yeah, I screwed up, can't qualify. You know what I mean?
100%. And I think, and I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that is one thing that I see, not just in our industry, but in all in a lot of industries, is that if you don't have integrity, like, we're gonna screw up. It's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But it is absolutely how you handle it. And my team knows I will back them. I don't care how much of a check I have to write.
Mm.
And this is really funny. I'll tell you this because this is one of my top realtors who I've been working with for probably 25 years. And this was probably, I don't know, 7 years ago. But yesterday, We messed up a deal. I mean, we gave out a pre-approval, and this just doesn't happen, but it
Mm,
does happen. It happens to anybody. We gave out a pre-approval letter, and it was just a gnarly file, tax returns, and we missed something.
mm,
And so I did what I always do. First, I figure out, okay, what is a plan B,
mhm,
And so before I made the phone call, I knew exactly, and people are going to react different ways, Jeff. And this is why I want to be aligned with people that are honest, because we're all going to screw up. It's how we fix it. And so I called my realtor first and I let her know what happened. And I mean, it was a big deal. Her deposit was going to be shot.
mm.
And instead of, this is who I want to work with, she's like, okay. And so I told her, I did my research. I found another bank that could do it. I just bent over backwards, and I told the borrower, and that's how you have to handle it, right? So admit it. Here's what I'm going to do to fix it. Never, never, never place blame on anyone. Fast forward, that was 7 years ago. Yesterday, she was talking to me about a seller and going to take an offer on another buyer that I'm working with. And she said, oh, and you remember you did her loan? And she said the name. And I went, I said, oh my word.
No.
Remember, I didn't do her loan, remember? But you think about, like I said, oh my word, and she still took my offer. So meaning that,
Wow.
okay, that was 7 years ago. And it's how I handle the problem, right?
Mm,
And instead of saying, oh my God, I had a horrible experience with Jane Floyd 7 years ago.
wow.
So I think that's the thing, is people, Jeff, like, don't want to admit it. And I even, I think probably for 30 years when I hire somebody, I will tell, number one thing, don't lie to me. I will back you
Mm.
up, because we're going to screw up, right? But just tell the truth, and we'll fix it together.
How, in the past, for example, have you had, or how have you handled a situation where somebody, let's take realtor, because consumer is a different example, where they don't
Yeah.
respond well to that situation? Um, Anything come to mind on that?
It does, and
Mm,
that's such a great question. And this might not be where, if somebody's brand new in the business, you can't be as selective as I am
mhm,
of who I want to work with right now in my life. I
mhm,
want to work with people that are aligned and think like me. So in those situations, those are just people. Hey, if they give me a deal, I'll take it. But that's not somebody I'm going to pursue. That's not somebody I'm going to spend my time with, because you know, they're just going to pick up the phone, call somebody else, and it's not how I live my life. And we all have enough stuff in our life. So I
mm,
just choose not to work with people like that. And you just have to figure that out. It
mm.
takes time, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
figure
Well,
out.
this is the kind of business where people will reveal their true colors, right? I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know if you ever heard that old saying, like, you go golfing for business relationships, and how the person acts on the golf course is like reveals a lot about who they are in life. Like if they call the mulligans, the cheat, the kick, what I mean, or they react when it's similar in this business, because it's a very emotionally intensive business. And if that's how you handle stress and difficulty and challenges, yeah, that's kind of indicative of what that relationship is going to be like.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that. All right. Let's pivot and go a little bit more strategic. So, a question I often ask people when they come on is, what is your primary source of business?
I can tell you, because we're finalizing the year, and it's always been within a few percent range. 71% of my business in 2024 is realtors. And it has literally been between 65 and 75 for the past 30 years.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
What's the other balance then?
16% is past clients.
Mm-hmm.
Really ashamed that 1% is current clients. 3% is past client referrals. So, you track these, you look at, Jeff, like, okay, opportunities, right? And I never want to, I'll never stop building the relationships with realtors, because I
Mm-hmm.
love that.
Mm,
However, you look at those numbers, and I'm like, okay, guys, we have a massive database that loved us. I survey every single client, every single one, and we have a 98% raving fan surveys. That's how I
Right.
measure my entire staff. So really that you take it past clients and past client referrals combined is 19%. That should be a lot higher. So that's a huge opportunity that we're working on. My team's working on.
Are there other sources, social media, other, quote unquote consumer direct that you're also kind of eyeballing that you wanted to pursue further?
When we say consumer direct, that's like a dream come true. So I would
Right.
love to. I don't pay for any marketing. I
Sure.
don't do any
You
of
don't run
that.
ads. Yeah. Mhm.
Right. But the consumer direct to me is to be just so that I can get business for my agents. So I've been consciously
Right.
working on that through my database and then through uh, for me social. To be honest with you, I don't like it, but I think it's I think it's a necessity, right? And so we're I think we were maybe like 5% when you say consumer direct. So like
Yeah.
from some of the videos that we've done, and
Right.
that's about it.
And I'm looking at your Instagram right now. And of course, we'll link up all your resources and stuff in the show notes here. But Instagram is your primary social channel?
Yes. Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah. Like for example, I did a video actually today. I don't know if it's posting today or tomorrow, but normally we bulk post.
Okay.
But I invite like the entire community, right? It's just on because we got hit with the back-to-back hurricanes, so huge effect on our business this last
Right.
quarter. Nothing I've ever seen or anybody that's lived here experienced. So and so doing a webinar next week, not just for agents, but just on there are so many properties, Jeff, that that you can't get loans on. So this renovation loan is, and we have NFM has a special going on. So like I opened it up to the entire community, like post it, send it anywhere, so just trying to reach out to the community with things like that. If we get
Yeah.
loans, great, and help somebody, great.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had a call earlier today. We were talking about rental loans and several weeks ago as well. And considering the inventory challenge as well. And that's a whole side conversation we could have about, right? Like with the aging boomers and the potential silver tsunami and all this stuff of we've got these aging homes, right? That are going to be coming on the market. And I think that's a smart strategy for the loan officer to position themselves of hey, here's how we can structure this reno loan, right? As a new listing for first time home buyers who are yeah, it doesn't have everything, but hey, have you thought about this? And as you know, a lot of realtors aren't even aware how you can structure reno loans to make this a workable deal, right? This normal listing that think about the advantage that we're going to geek out on loans now for a second. Think about the advantage of you've got this seller, they know their house is kind of crappy and they're like, yeah, so they're going to drop the price or whatever. And it's well, hey, wait a minute, realtor, what if we talked about this reno loan? Kind of what you're doing, right?
That's exactly, and I even announced it this morning. I got to speak in a real estate office that this. I'm doing one right now that it would have been a cash investor, right? Otherwise, this person couldn't have bought a home. And why and the dust is settling and the emotions. I mean, people have been through a lot being displaced from their homes. But yeah, this is just such a solution, and for both sides. But it's just educating them, and like you said, we're offering let's put a flyer here, market this property. You don't have to sell it at a discount for cash,
Right.
or at I'm seeing some go at massive discounts, maybe a little bit, but you can get way more money if you sell your house to this person. They can get a renovation loan than this cash investor, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So think about that as you're listening in your area where those apply. Okay, so realtors is the primary source, past clients, and then the other kind of mixed bag of stuff. You're obviously established now, 30 plus years in the business. Are you still hunting realtors, or is it pretty much, maintaining the existing relationships?
Oh God, no. There are two parts to the sale, Jeff, in our business, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Acquisition and retention. So I literally, I'm real big on working and that's where my Caitlin comes in, director of development. So we actively work our lists and then constantly trying to get new agents.
You're recruiting all the time. Yeah.
All the time. Never stop prospecting. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pivot here for a second. I'm going to jump
Yeah.
into Redder. I don't know if you use Redder MMI for data. Yeah.
Oh, we have what's called the Edge here at NFM.
Ooh, that's right. The Edge. Yes, of course you do.
The
Um,
Edge.
I
But
always like
MMI
to.
is great.
Yeah, yeah, and Redder, shout out Redder as well. That's who I'm attached to the hip with.
I've never heard of that, so I thought that was going to be something techie. I was going to have you educate me on.
It's the alternative to MMI. Let's
Alternative.
call it that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's similar in that I can look at like your top buyer agents by transaction count. So, all right, before I get into this, let me go back to you're always recruiting agents, right? How how do you stay in front of agents to continue that attraction? Because I'm going to assume, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not cold calling. Maybe you are, but what is that strategy for you to constantly be adding to the bus?
That's a great question. How do I stay in front of agents? So a couple different ways. One, I am constantly doing educational events. I do so many lunch and learns, Jeff, at here locally. I hated during COVID when everything was
Yeah.
Zoom, right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, next week that'll be my first Zoom in a while. Just the renovation because there's
Mm-hmm.
going to be so many people and my renovation partners in different state. But constantly inviting new agents to my events. Some of them I speak at. Some of them, I bring in speakers.
Right.
Wednesday open houses, this is one thing I've been consistent with for 20 plus years in our market. Just like you just said, you look up in
Mm-hmm.
Redder. Is it Redder?
Yeah, Redder. Yeah.
So Caitlin, my director of development and realtor concierge, we every Wednesday, man, we either will do an open house with one of our established agents, and that's the best way because then as we're and in our area, Jeff, they're well attended.
Yes.
And so we constantly meet new agents that way. And even though they're brand new, if they don't know who we are, they're hearing the agent, you don't know Jane Floyd's team, blah 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 blah. Or we'll just if we'll just go pop in, right? Just
Sure.
pop in, look at the house. Those are probably the two of the biggest, and then the third, to be honest with you, no, I'm going to give you four actually. And this I learned from the core, and I have we actively work listing agents.
Right.
And I learned doing Tuesday updates. I literally since January of 2011, we have never once missed a Tuesday update call to a
Wow.
listing agent.
Jeez.
And I can tell you, Jeff, now my team captain does those calls now. But if you're only, depending on where your production is, you should be doing them yourself. I still come in
Right.
after, but I can't tell you, I wish I could quantify and tell you the number of agents that we've acquired just from small cap promises, calling them every single Tuesday. So that is a massive way to get agents. And then the other one is so simple too. It's nothing new. This is nothing sexy, but I just scheduled one this morning. Agents that know, love, and trust me, getting me with coffee,
Someone else.
with someone else. I mean,
Right. Hey, bring an agent. Right.
bring an agent like you. Yeah, it's so simple, right? And that goes back to too, Jeff, like bring an agent that again is aligned with us and
Right.
that, no, I don't want to say anything negative.
Well, I mean, you want to attract like-minded people, right? So that's your vibe attracts. What is that? Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So that's what you want. Similar types of people. So I wrote all that down. What I love about that is it's fundamentals, right? Lunch and learns. You do the broker preview open houses, right? Which is what you're referring to.
Correct.
Right.
Now, Jeff, I am
Yeah.
not like I used to hit Saturday and Sunday open houses
Sure.
all the time.
Right.
But I'll tell you, every once in a while, I'll pop in just
Right.
because I love competing with myself. Like somebody totally green. Let me go in and see if I can crack this person.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're like, I still got it. Yeah. Keeps you
Absolutely.
fresh.
And I do think for new age for new, if there's any new loan officers or
Oh, yeah.
productions down, I can tell you the I think weekend open houses right now
Yeah.
is the way to go. With
Yeah.
Since the NAR settlement,
Oh, yeah.
we've been tracking this, and I asked agents. We do a lot of flyers for them. Caitlin does before the weekend and post them on social. But the amount of buyers that are coming through unrepresented is unbelievable. Just last weekend, Jeff, one of my agents, buyer came through. She didn't know him from Adam. Now we've got them all pre-approved. And I think that is like, if you plopped me in a city where I knew no one, besides networking events, right? To me, that would be the number one way to cultivate new relationships with agents.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's not funny. I can't tell. I mean, I sit here and I've interviewed, gosh, I don't know, 250, 300 loan officers, right? And whenever I get somebody like in your sphere, that is why I ask the questions I ask. So listener, you just heard from somebody who's doing $100 million in 2024, right? Was that 230, 240 plus loans, something like that?
Yeah.
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 The main sources of her business still are realtors, and you could bag on realtors, you could throw them under the bus, you could wish it was different. And this is like, I get tired of hearing myself tell other people, Jane, right? Which is just like, I need to grow my business, and there's social media, and there's running ads, and there's this and that, and there's buy this and do that. And I'm like, fastest, quickest way to a buyer is a real estate agent. But people don't like it, right? Because of realtors are a pain in the ass, right?
It's work. Jeff.
Right. And they're like, I'm so tired of realtors or whatever. So what would you advise to those people that are having that head talk right now about the whole going after realtors thing? Because it's the drum we've been beating for 20, 30 years.
Yeah. I think you just said it. It's the mindset. They have to tell themselves, I love realtors. Like, you have to believe it. Until you believe it, right? It's not going to happen.
But what if, Jane, I don't? The realtors I've worked with suck. Like, is that my fault partly?
And then I have some loan officers like, then go find new ones. Like, right, Jeff? Go find new ones. That's what I'm saying. It's not easy, right? They're not, I am not like-minded with everyone. I've had literally realtors like lie to your face, and you're like, well, here's the data, so go find new ones. They are out there, right? It's if you want it, go get it. They're there.
Yeah, I really love that you said that. And it goes back to kind of, I think, why you're still playing the lunch and learn card, the broker preview stuff. You're still playing the, I have this phrase, 5 Mile Famous game, which is, let me play this game with you for a second, because you're well known in your area, right? And how many realtors are in the greater Tampa area? 10,000, 15,000, something like that?
It's over 10.
It's over 10, yeah.
For sure.
So I was close. Look at that. Wild guess. I have an idea. So I do this thing in some of the keynotes I deliver where I talk about this movie called I Love You Man with Paul Rudd and Jason Segel, whatever. I don't know if you've seen it, but Paul Rudd plays this down and out realtor in Los Angeles. And it's got a really funny clip in it. And I show it. Realtors find it funny too. So he's down and out in LA. He's a realtor. Yeah. It's about 20 plus years old. But so he's down and out. Jason Segel is like this kind of strange friend who befriends Paul Rudd. And long story short is Paul Rudd's a realtor down and out. And so Segel decides to take out, unbeknownst to Paul Rudd's character, a bunch of billboards in LA advertising this Paul Rudd. And it's like the cheesiest realtor advertising you've ever seen. It's in the thong. It's in, the Wild Wild West. It's the secret agent, James Bond. It's all the stuff, right? It's the bus sign and all that kind of, and the audience is just laughing like crazy. And then of course he's pissed off. He's freaking out like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And next thing you know, his phone's ringing off the hook. And the point I make is I put a picture of a billboard up and I ask the loan officers, I go, hey, if there was a billboard up in your town and every realtor in town drove by that billboard every single day, how many of them would recognize your face and your name? And isn't that what you've just alluded to here is you're still playing the running for mayor recruiting game because there's 10, 15,000 agents. How many do you need? 50, 100, 200, that'll vary. But
Correct.
You obviously have a large database of real estate agents, right?
Yes.
and you're marketing to them in various ways. So you are constantly, use our words, recruiting, staying top of mind. I'll put a cherry on this is, I think for the listener right now, one of the issues you've solved, and I think the people who bitch and moan about realtors is you're simply not well known enough. Like not enough realtors know you even exist. And this is a numbers game. For you to find the people that are going to jive and align with you, you've got to go through a lot of people.
Jeff, you just said something, and I hope what you just said is so true. And I say this hopefully humbly. You're not like, and again, it took me, doing videos was painful for me. At first, I was so awkward. I can tell you, Jeff, though, and again, I am relational, right? I'm old school. However, I am not ignorant that what the world looks at, like get off your phone, but they are in social. So I can't even tell you how many times, I mean, time after time, oh, they know you. And honestly, Jeff, I have no idea who they are. You know what they know? They know my team's reputation, right? Because we have a strong reputation. And then I am doing value add videos for a credibility, right? Like just credibility. They're not to, again, it was even hard to, when I started posting anything personal, I'm like, this isn't about me, but people want to know a little bit about you. But what you said, those people, they don't know you.
Yeah.
Yes. So it is easier when then I go after that agent who has heard of me and knows the reputation because of our team and that we deliver. Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you gotta be in both worlds today.
You just reminded me, you said something, reputation. I heard this quote from, I think it was Rory Vaden from Brand Builders Institute. And he said, everything you want is on the other side of your reach and your reputation. That's it. Like, so if you're listening right now and you're not getting the inbounds you want, it comes down to what's your reach and what's your reputation.
Yes. 100%. I mean, and just on that note a little for a minute, like it's why, I mean, every Friday, you know, I mean, we're structured. We look at the videos we posted, what had a good reach, what had a good response, what had shares, so that we know what do people want, right? What are they? And then we try to tailor our social to, you know, the reactions, right? And
look at your analytics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, on the Lunch and Learns, I don't know if you know this about me, but that's a sweet spot of me for those listening. They probably know by now that that's one of the ways I help loan officers is we have this like turnkey platform of done for you classes and stuff, which Jordan has participated in. But
she's amazing, by the way.
She's amazing. Shout out Jordan if you're listening. What are some of the topics that, you know, you tend to teach?
So recently, again, I think you also have to adapt everything to
what's going on in the market,
your environment and what's happening, right? So some of the biggest ones right now have been around the insurance, right?
Yes.
Restoration, all of that. Appraisals. Every time over the years, I have an appraiser come in, an underwriter come in. Oh my God, we have so many.
You mentioned the NAR settlement earlier. I was wondering if you're doing anything like what we're doing, some stuff which is called like winning the buyer presentation, right? Leveraging seller concessions, right? Those types of things. Mm-hmm.
We actually, right when it hit, we probably were doing 3 a week about winning the buyer's presentation. That's kind of tapered off now, but that was the only thing that we were doing for a while, right? Yeah. It's evolving.
Yeah, it's always evolving.
Yeah.
And now, as far as like leveraging the seller concessions, that's in the context of, you know, how to overcome the buyer agent compensation issue, affordability, right? And because
affordability is a massive issue, you know. Right. I mean, in our area.
Everywhere. Where is it not?
Where is it not? Yeah, and it's not going to change.
Yeah. So once again, let's dovetail. So the more you can demonstrate how you can help agents solve problems with education, the more you're going to get chosen, the more you're going to win. because it's not going to be based on products and price, right? It's going to be, oh, I didn't know you could use a seller concession to pay the buyer agent compensation. Huh. I didn't know you could add my agent compensation to the purchase price and we can still, right, make that up and only add another 50 or $100 to the payment. Oh, most agents are completely unaware of that.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, show up and educate. All right. I want to real quickly, as I'm keeping an eye on the clock, talk about your social media, because I've been following you on Instagram. You actually look really comfortable, you should know, by the way, on reels and videos.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a compliment.
So you mentioned earlier, you batch film content. Is that what I heard?
Yeah. So unless like it was today, the two that I did, I just because,
Sure.
and then also, hey, the homestead exemption. So I did one to get in some end of the year closings, but I started doing that, I don't know, a year or two ago, Jeff, and it's been a game changer for me. And I think that goes also with, just your calendar is so critical, right? And so I block out 3 hours every other week with my social girl. Is it 2 or 3? 2.5, two, 3. I block 3 hours out, and then during those 2 weeks, right? We're coming up with content. So we are so prepared, right? Change of outfits, and then there's 3 of us in there, my social girl, and that's it. We just roll with it, so that then she's set. She calendars out the postings, and because otherwise I used to just try to fit them in. Like, let me do one tomorrow. Let me do one today.
Oh,
By the end of
yeah.
the day, I'm brain dead, and I really don't have the energy. I think that's another thing is just super important. With your calendar, if you're doing videos, right?
Yeah.
You want to have, everybody's different times of day where their energy is the highest. I think that's important too.
Yeah, 100%. How do you come up with topics to create videos around?
So I multiple different ways. Like I look at Neil, like forward, like there's just so I have such a sphere throughout the country. So my social girls looking at them, what works. But then I think the most important thing I do is like, we're listening to our buyers and our agents. Like what questions are they asking us? What are the needs, right? Like for example, I mean, I don't want to say we beat this horse, but we're still beating it and we're crushing it, is the 2-1 buy down. When rates went down, rates shot back up, people don't really grasp unless they're really looking at the power of that, getting that buyer in a house that they can afford it, but they're conservative. I'm just a freak. I'm so passionate about, people being fiscally,
literate.
I was never taught it, right? I learned it. And so I just think if you have financial issues, like we're going to have problems in life, but if you're not fiscally wise and using a mortgage as a tool, right? So constantly teaching that. So again, like the 2-1 buy down, for example, I can't believe when an agent's like, I go, well, I've done like 3 videos on it, but then I'm like, okay, well, shame on me. I'm not doing enough. So constantly listening to what buyers and agents are asking of us, it gives me content, credit. You think credit is like, cause right. We've been doing this forever. Right. But they don't really some of them don't really understand the nuances and why it's important, why the score and showing. One of the ones we did on our last filming was, just showing the math. I think I'm big about, let's show people math. Like, what is the difference in this score and this score on this price? Like, what does that mean to you? So really, let's get you in up front and let's get the credit cleaned up if that's what we need to do. So that's where.
Yep. I love it. You're listening.
Yeah.
Listening to your buyers and clients, because they're going to, and what are the common questions you get every single week or month, and, redoing those. And if you think the 2-1 buy down has been played out, once again, mindset, that's in your head, because
in your head.
Yeah. I mean, people need to be reminded over and over and over again. And most people aren't seeing your stuff anyway. So
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Jeff. Yeah.
I want to give you a quick shout out. I'm on your Instagram here, and I've never seen a loan officer do this. You did a Black Friday special. And I'm like, what? So I click on this, and for the listeners, why don't you briefly tell them what that was?
So, and I have, so when I'm doing videos now, it's three people. So Caitlin, that's been with me for 8 years, and who all my realtors know, and then my social girl, and then my executive assistant, who's only been with me for 5 months. 5 months. So it's all three of us, and it's so cool though how when you collaborate. So
Mm.
so one of them had seen, let's do a Black Friday special. What can we get? I was Caitlin. Yeah. Well, and what, I'm like, no, I can't give that away because I'd be doing the loan for free. But let's come up with something. So like no origination fees, we did, I think. But anyway, and then and then Alexis goes, wait a minute, I got it. Like, how about having you come, and truth be known, I hate shopping. Come in with bags, right? With that, and how it just was funny,
Yeah.
So I feel like you got to throw some of that in, just for humor.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I like what it says. Apply online by midnight on Black Friday. No origination fees when you close. 5-year rate pledge guarantee, which is a refi when rates drop for up to 5 years with no lender fees, for those curious. And mention Team Floyd to your loan partner. This must be a new application. That's awesome. Like, that's very creative use of like piggybacking on what's already on top of everybody's mind.
Black Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday. Smart.
You gotta have fun with it.
Yeah, I love it. So make sure that you check the link in the show notes so you can go follow Jane and all the cool stuff her and her team are doing over there for social media content. All right. Well, unfortunately, we are coming to the end of our time because you are very busy. I am busy. And I think we've already extracted quite a few nuggets for people listening to this. The only question I'd close out with is, as we're heading into 2025, I'm sure you're already, if not soon, to engage in planning for the new year. Anything you're doing differently or strategically, or you're going to test something out that, you haven't maybe done before?
I don't know that it's different, but honestly, the whole time and energy audit, I'm sure you read Buy Back Your Time. I read it 2 years ago, but I'm constantly reevaluating that. And I think, like, for me, our most success comes from our people and our team, right? And so we're reevaluating conversions, and just we are hyper focused in the first quarter. We have enough leads, right? So we are hyper focused in raising our conversions by just 3%. So that's our first quarter initiative. Yeah. And so you got to back into that. So it's
well. By the way, what does that mean? Conversion at what point?
So lead to close.
Okay.
Lead to close. Because I think the process, right? Communication is everything. Yeah. But if you can just increase your conversions, and then you just have to back into, there's multiple different ways. And it's a whole collaborative effort with the team. And I break it down by, I have 3 team members that I partner with one person on every single loan. That's how I work. So, yeah,
I mean, that's called running it like a business, right? Looking at your lead to conversion, your pull through rate. And I'm sure you've done the exercises over the years of your app to conversion, right? And, you've got to look at your analytics, because
have
to bring it back to close this out is like, I'll use the term I heard a while back, which is we're in a transaction recession. So if transactions are down overall, then you've got to get that much better at your whole process, conversion, et cetera, because you're going to have less at bats. So you have less margin to screw up.
Exactly.
Awesome. So Jane, this has been fantastic. I really, really appreciate getting to connect with you. I know we're going to wind up meeting at an event somewhere soon in person. But the best places for people to connect with you is, one, your Instagram, which is Jane_Floyd. And then we'll put a link to your LinkedIn as well, which are active there also. You've got good content there. So we'll put a link in the show notes to you there as well. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today.
Man, thank you. And happy to help anybody. And Jeff, thank you. I am going to check out the things that you mentioned. Appreciate you, buddy.
You bet. And listeners, you know what to do if you like this episode. First, share it with somebody. Secondly, leave us a review. There'll be a link down in the show notes where you can rate this podcast. So that's how we reach more people. Appreciate you all tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.